Hey everybody, it's Evan with Let's Do This, and I'm really excited for today's video because I'm going to show you how I turn these free pallets into an awesome commercial pop soda holder. I was commissioned to make this for somebody, and so I knew where I could get some pallets. Once I priced out all the wood, it was going to cost me about $200 to get all the wood for that from the Home Depot, and I figured, well, get some nice pine boards from these pallets, so I'll go ahead and use those. As you see, the display cases I found for sale, they were pretty expensive, and I got that sponge head band from my father-in-law. He says he used to use those when he was bricklaying, and he found a bag of them, so I figured, why not give it a go? So this is how I process my pallet boards. I found this to be the easiest way. I just cut the ends so I don't even have to deal with those nails. And then the only nails I have to do are the ones in the middle. So I have this bar that I used for breaking up flooring. These flat pry bars are really nice for a lot of different things. So if you don't have one yet, go ahead and get one. Got my mallet. I hit the nails out of the ends. So those boards are going to be full length. Then I'll show you what I made to get the nails out also, because there's a special way I get the nails out of these boards, because sometimes if you try to hit them back through the board, you end up splitting the board or bending the nails. And I found a surefire way to get those nails out without ever bending a nail or breaking a board. So it took me a long time to figure this out, but I just drilled a hole into a piece of wood. So you set the wood over the nail, so the nail comes through the hole in the board, and you just back them out. And then you flip the board back over and you pull it out with the crowbar or with the backside of the hammer. So all the nail heads are exposed, and you can easily just rock your hammer and pull them out. So that's one good trick for you if you're getting into making things with pallets. Like I said, you get some nice wood out of pallets. So these are the finished ones that I have so far. I broke down 6 or 8, I think it was 8 pallets I got. And so I have quite a bit left over. The ends you don't really use. I have a dumpster at work. I throw those away at. Make sure you get all your nails, any foreign metal materials out of your wood, because as you run it through a planer or as you sand it, get a planer. First of all, if you don't have one of these planers, get one. You can see how dirty the boards are. See that? And then you run them through. Look how clean it makes it. It saves you so much time in sanding. It's not even funny. So dirty board, get the depth set, and then that way too, all your boards, you know your thickness, because you set your depth on the planer, and as you're running through all your boards, you know when you're done all your boards are the same width, as to where if you're sanding them, they're all going to be different widths. And then you can still make stuff with it, and if some people like that look, but I know who I was doing this for, I needed to have it look pretty clean. So the other, you are going to have some bent side bend. So here's the design for the bottom. So I got to go ahead and make a base for this. So you got to know who you're building this for. If they want it clean cut looking, maybe don't use pallet wood because you're going to get some wavy boards, but that's part of using reclaimed lumber at any point. So yeah, buying wood from a store, you don't have to do anything with it. It's already cut dimensional lumber. Using the pellets, you got to do quite a bit to them to make them usable. So, and this I just made all off the cuff. I drew up a few designs in a notepad. I knew my measurements. He wanted it 24 inches wide, 3 feet deep. What was it? 3.5 feet tall. I think I ended up making it 4, but I needed a 4 pack of pop right there. Those 4 packs, it's going to be stacked with those side to side, top to bottom. So I had to be big enough to do a few shelves of those. And then I use all pallet wood, so I'm using the side stringers. I got to shore it up, make it really sturdy. So I use these braces, corner braces, I call them, inside corner. So I drill out the holes and then I screw them in, and I do one of those on each level. And it's also because those shelves aren't really held onto the supports. So this way it makes it way more sturdy, because probably going to have what, at least I'd guess 7-8 pounds of pop per shelf. So you need it pretty sturdy. And this isn't a tutorial how to make one of these. I'm just showing you what you can do with pallet wood. You can actually make some really cool, nice stuff with it. So if you want to get into woodworking, wood's high right now. You can find where pallets are free. So I had a design flaw, all right? So I have to use my Japanese rip saw here and cut off all the ends to these. Ideally what I wanted was the boards were going to come up the sides and stop at the bottom of the steps. But I tried cutting out a few pieces, and man, it was so much measuring and so much. I cut a few wrong, and I was just wasting so much wood. I'm like, I'm just going to make it flush, come up and be flush with the stair instead of going underneath, because sometimes it's not perfectly. The piece of wood doesn't get right to the edge of the stair. It goes up a little, as you can see my jigsawing here. So I have to cut it, and there's a little piece that comes up past the stair. And if I had to do that underneath the, what are we going to call that, the hangover of the step. So this way was a lot easier for me. I'm just using a trim nail gun. And then you can see I can cut notches out of there pretty easy now. And I can just do it level with the stair. And then I can come back with the sander and make sure everything's really flush. So there it is, all done up before I have my stain put on. I mean, I kept sending update pictures, and um, they were pretty blown away with what I was doing with it. And then they wanted it to be able to move, so I had to put a bottom on it and some wheels, casters that I already had, but they're heavy duty industrial ones with brakes. And they wanted storage, so I put a bottom in there too. I didn't mess with that wood, trying to make it too pretty. And then sanding up everything. For staining, you want to get it to at least 220, 300 grit. You don't want to go too fine, but you don't want to do just 80 grit either. So I sand everything on this, all surfaces, top, bottom, sides, and I just go with a water-based. This is a, not an espresso. Oh, it is espresso, yeah. So you put this on, well, it's still wet. You take a dry rag, microfiber cloth, and you just wipe it off. The longer you let it stay, the darker it's going to get. You do want to wipe it though. So you want to make sure to leave it on for the same amount of time, sides, top, bottom, because you want it all to be the same color. If it sits longer, it's going to be darker. So I do one stair section at a time. And there's the finished product. I delivered it. Happy customer. And again, that's all made out of pallet wood. Saved them a bunch of money. You know, it took time to get all the wood ready, but I was really happy with that, how that turned out. I've done a lot of other pallet projects. Go ahead and look through my YouTube. And from when I started this channel, all I did was pallet wood to begin with. So here's some of the finished product. If you want to see more of these, like, subscribe, share. Let me know in the comments if you want me to try more pallet stuff. I'm up for doing that. So talk to you later. Thanks for watching.